What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I wanted to do kind of a GTA 6 news and rumors roundup. I saw one story here, and I thought, oh, I'll just do a video on that. And then I saw two other stories, and I thought, well, let's just make kind of a three-part video. So we have a rumor about how they're going to handle reviews. We have, and then two news stories. One being a former Saints Row developer saying that he actually wants the game to be $100, and then another from kind of like this analyst firm that did a couple nice tests and talked about what the sweet spot is. So some pretty interesting stuff. Let's start with the rumor, and then we'll get into, because both of the other two, the news things, right? That's more about the $100, $80, $70 things. So in terms of the rumor for reviews, we have Detective Seed saying GTA 6 review access may require reviewers such as media and select content creators to come to a designated location for a select number of days in order to review the game. This will be interesting, especially if video reviews are allowed due to editors, video file locations, etc. I believe we'll have a better idea of how this is going to be done in the near future. And they say acquire this info by asking an employee with the publisher through mutual connection on LinkedIn under the agreement that I do not put their name or title out there. There's kind of two different lines of thoughts that I have on this. Number one, because I see a lot of people, even in his own comment section, saying it, and I actually agree with this quite heavily, even from being a content creator. Reviews for this game probably matter less than a review for any other game of all time. And I only say that it's not to, I think there are people that will say like reviews aren't necessary, period. And, like I'm not really pro like the IGNs and game journalists. Like I'm not a big fan of Kotaku's and all these different places, but they're people that are doing their jobs. And I think we have the ability to like them, don't like them. We can take what we want from the reviews. If you want to look at the number scores and make your decision that way, I would not advise that, but I know there are people that do that, right? I look at what are kind of like the facts, what are like they're actually saying that can be like solidified, and you can kind of take that stuff, not just scrolling down and seeing, oh, got an 8.2, because what the heck does an 8.2 even mean, okay? But I think the important thing that I'm trying to get across there is this game is so big, and so many people are going to get it regardless. And I will say that's not necessarily, like, I'm not saying that as a perfect thing or a massive negative. I'm kind of just saying it because it's the truth, right? I think people, no matter what happens in any way possible, are going to get the game. And so from that standpoint or vantage point, whatever, I think GTA 6's reviews will matter almost not at all, right? Like it'll get 9s, 10s. It'll probably get a Metacritic score of 94, 93, whatever it's going to do. Red Dead 2, you could probably say the same thing for Red Dead 2. Like, I don't know how many people are waiting for the review scores to drop for Red Dead 2 before they make that decision. And maybe there's some, but let me tell you, GTA is even bigger, right? Like, GTA 6 is bigger than Red Dead 2. So, GTA 6, I feel like it'd be even less. Like, how many people are sitting at their computer or TV or whatever and saying, okay, I need to see what IGN gave this game. Did they give it a 9.7? Did they give it a 9.1? What did these fools give this game? Because if they gave it the right score, I'm going to buy GTA 6. I just don't know how many people are waiting for that. And actually, well, I do know. I think it's a very small number, a negligible number, to be honest with you. So in terms of like the actual rumor itself, it's kind of funny because it sounds like the way he words it, sounds like they're going to put you in a back room and do some pretty terrible things to you. But in reality, you actually get to play the game of the generation. I don't know. Like if it happens, it happens. Whatever. Like maybe the whole because they'd be doing it for spoilers, right? They would want to contain it, so they're literally going to lock you up against your will in like a corner somewhere. But as he mentions, like a lot of the bigger creators or even like the IGNs, right? They'll have a person who plays it and writes the review, or a YouTuber might, play it, write the review, record the review, but it could be somebody else that edits it. And so that person needs the footage of the first person, right? But if you're locked in a room against your will crying, you can't get the files out to your editor. So the editor also needs to be ripped from their family and put with you in a dark corner of a room to play the game with you. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but I just thought that was kind of fun. And I think it makes a point of, again, like, are people really going to care about the review specifically for GTA 6? I would think the answer is no, but that's just my opinion. Okay, then the two news stories. stories on the price. So, not all games are created equal. Original Saints Row developer says GTA 6 deserves to be $100. So, they were talking to a person whose name's Chris Stockman, the design director for the first Saints Row game. He said they're the only ones that can get away with it. I don't think it's a rising tide that floats all boats. I think that there'll be a tremendous amount of backlash if everyone switched to $100. Not all games are created equal. I think GTA is the only one that can get away with it, and I hope they do. I really hope it's $100. I think it deserves to be $100. The scope and magnitude of this production deserves that price tag, but not everything is treated equally. It would be a disaster if everyone tried to match them. Now, he really should have probably stopped halfway through that. I can get when somebody says it, but I also think it kind of comes across very cringy, and you can almost see the hate coming a mile away. And it's not like the hate is unwarranted, because it's tough. Like, I'm even trying to struggle, like, how do I want to say it? Is GTA, like, from a vacuum, could it legitimately be considered like, yeah, this game is worthy of $100? You might say yes, but like the crime and the repercussions of doing that are so substantial that I've said on this channel multiple times, right? You don't take the risk. To me, that's how I see it. Could you actually convince me that GTA is worth $100? Yes. Does that mean that it should be? That's actually the line, right? That's why he should have stopped there. Does it deserve to be 100? Maybe, but that doesn't mean that it actually will, or that we should push for it to be 100. Look, I've said a couple times, I'll say it again here because we're talking about the money. Your favorite games of all time, my favorite games of all time, you think about that just in your own head right now, okay? What's your favorite game? These are games that you look back and you spent the retail price on them, right? But you would probably be willing to spend so much more on them now, knowing that they're your favorite. So I've said before, like, Life is Strange. Life is Strange 1 was like, I think, $20 or $25 if you bought that season pass. I would spend hundreds of dollars to experience that Life is Strange game again for the first time. The issue, like, it is kind of like a conundrum because you can't actually do that, right? Like, if I were to say, well, okay, we'll pay $150 and we'll give you Life is Strange 1 again for the first time, I wouldn't know that it's good, so I wouldn't be willing to spend the $150. There are some flaws in what I'm trying to say, but generally, again, your favorite games, would you spend more than, like, the retail value? Yes, but the issue is you don't know that, when you first play them, if you're willing to spend $100 more on them. Will people be willing to spend $100 on GTA? Probably, but the harm that would cause is insane. And now, normally in these articles, and I think it happens here too, they like to throw in like, well, and it's either like somebody saying it or it's whoever's writing the article will say it. They'll say, well, prices have gone up, right? The budgets of these games are astronomically higher now than they'll come up with all these excuses of, and I will defend the consumer on this 10 out of 10 days, because I get it. I get the budgets are higher, but I'm not willing to throw out all these excuses of like, well, boo-hoo, these rich companies that have been around forever that could have seen this coming and still can see it coming and decide not to do diddly squat about it. They can stop this if they really wanted to, right? I'm not a fan of this idea that, oh, well, just because Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million, the game should be more. Why don't we turn that question around? Why don't we, swap some words out? And why don't we ask ourselves, why does Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million? Well, we know the Marvel contract is like $100+ million. So that's a big problem, right? When the contract to use the character is a third of the budget, you immediately, when you're signing that contract, you need to be aware of that. And they are, because they're aware, well, we'll just try to sell more copies. And if we can't sell more copies, we'll raise the prices of them. Right? And that's what these companies do, right? They maybe see it, but they think the solutions are totally not what they should be, right? But I mean, that's just an example. I mean, when you have these games that cost hundreds of millions when they really should not, I'm not saying lower people's pay, because honestly, it's people's pay that's doing it. When you make a game for 5 years and people's salaries are 4 times what they used to be, and a game takes 5 years instead of 2 years, you have tripled your gaming budget. And that's how it happens. It's not really it is some, but very little more than just the people's salary. So what do? You create smaller teams, you create smaller experiences, you get these games to come out faster, still at a good quality, right? That's what you do. And so I'm not willing to sit here and say, well, because of this factor and this factor, games have to cost more. No, I'm not gonna want games to raise on me, especially when there's things that companies can do to mitigate that and they choose not to. Now, GTA isn't a special boat. You do not get a GTA 6 with half the people and half the time. You would not legitimately get, so I do get that. But the offset to that is just, well, sell as many copies as possible. And if you sell 30 million copies in the first 2 years at $70 each, you made your budget back without even blinking. And you know that game is going to go on to sell 50, 60, 70, 80 million units over its life. If you're expecting the game to do, say, 70 million at launch to make all your money back, which they're not, but say they were, that would be insane, right? You have to have this long-term projection, and I'm sure they do. So that's kind of my thought on that. I'm not willing to get into like, well, again, like it deserves it. It should be 100, because when you do that, you're not only, and I'm really only talking, by the way, of GTA so far, but we've mentioned it several times in these videos. One does it, they all do it. They're not going to get away with it, and in that way, I do agree with this guy. So in that way, he's kind of tuned in, right? He knows, like, well, others will try to copy, and others will fail. And that is what's going to happen, but why should we want that experiment to, I've seen people say, well, like, maybe they want the gaming industry to burn and reset itself. That is a quick way of doing it, because you'd have so many companies that try it, you'd have more failures than you've ever seen before, and then, so it would reset it in the fastest way possible. But I'm not really looking for like thousands to lose their jobs and all these games that I love to get destroyed and nobody buys them. So I would like to stay maybe in this like better area that we're in right now. Okay, then the final part is kind of almost the antithesis to what we just said. So this comes from IGN. I'm going to read it from the GameSpot article. According to IGN, this market firm conducted a study on the upcoming game, right? So they say our research suggests that GTA 6 will generate more revenue at $70 than the much discussed $100. A $100 price point would actually leave money on the table. Now, how did they do this? So our research shows that 59% of consumers have some interest in purchasing GTA 6, which highlights the immense appeal and commercial potential of the game. This notoriety also makes GTA 6 the perfect test to do something with this, right? So they say, okay, they found that 60% of consumers said they would definitely or probably buy GTA 6 at $70, while just 35% said the same thing if it was $100. Then they said 79% of them would do it if it was $50, which is not going to happen. And a whopping 16% would scoop the game up an eye-watering $150 tag. So they say, again, what this means, the optimal $70 price point would equate to nearly 9% of U.S. adults buying the game, which is about 22.9 million copies and $1.6 billion in revenue. And that's U.S. That's U.S. So look, it's a firm, it's an analysis thing, and as you might know with these things, like it's off of 2,000 people. The thing you always question when they do these type of things, right? And this is politics, this is real life, anything, right? Is you have to have like a really good sample size, because those 2,000 people could not be reflective of the entire United States. So I'm sure there's some wiggle room of error. I'm sure that maybe in their own studies they say that kind of stuff, right? Maybe it's like a plus minus 5-10%. But that hopefully that makes me feel good. Okay. Hopefully somebody important sees that, though. I'm not important. So hopefully somebody bigger than me sees that, because that is that's interesting data, right? Where exactly what it said. What it really does, though, that $150 one actually stands out to me, because that kind of proves my point that some people will buy the game no matter what. Just like I was just saying, Life is Strange, Kingdom Hearts for me, Crash Bandicoot, Sly Cooper. If you gave me a new Sly Cooper game, right, even without me knowing, I would be willing to spend more than I probably should on a new Sly Cooper game. But I'm insane. I am clinically insane, and I shouldn't be doing that, but I would anyway, right? Some people are just going to do that. And when you have a game as big as GTA 6, okay, there are legitimately some people on the planet that would buy the game no matter the price. $200, $150, $130, people are going to buy it. You could do a $100 standard and a $180 deluxe and a $500 collector's edition. People will do all three. It will happen. But the thing is, that's not the majority, right? But that stat, 16%. I mean, again, what does that prove? There are some people that will buy GTA no matter what. Even some people will buy GTA. I mean, you see the drop, right? 60% would do it at 70, 35, so it almost drops by half, like literally almost half, would buy it if it jumps to 100. So there are people, but it is, from that study of 2,000 people, it is factually half of the people that would buy it at 70 would buy it at 100. And I do think that I would like to believe that holds up. Not that I'm rooting for it to not work, like GTA 6 to not sell, but I would like to believe if they do go for the 100, somebody needs to make a stand at some point, because the sad thing, it kind of reverts to what we were just talking about, right? If GTA 6 is a success at $100, what does that do for everybody else? Well, I think we're in for a world of hurt because now everybody else sees it. It's not necessarily wishing for GTA 6 to fail, but it's a situation everybody's gonna kind of have to do their own thing, right? Money, $100 to me is $100 different to you. Somebody can spend $100 without even thinking about it on an app. They could just pull out their phone, spend $100. Maybe I could do that for 20, but not 100, or you could do it for 300, but not, So everybody's money is. I guess what I'm really doing is I'm just describing society and just describing what money means to each person. People would buy it if it's 100, but some people might want to buy it at 100 and factually wouldn't be able to for economic reasons, or maybe they have to freaking buy groceries that week, and so they have to wait, And waiting could mean they wait a week, could wait a month, could wait a year. Maybe they don't end up buying the game at all. So there could be actual, ramifications to it. Bottom line, please do not have this be 100. People will buy it. I might even buy it for $100. I'm not sure. I am not 100% sold on $100, a game. So I would really think about it. But are there people that would do it? Yes. Are there people that wouldn't do it? Yes. This is the make or break. This is not the make or break necessarily for GTA, but this is one of the most important, I think, gaming decisions of the last long, long time. Because whatever they choose is going to just be a freaking domino for everybody else. And Nintendo tried to take an inch, right? Do an $80 Mario Kart. And up until this point, is that not the only one that's done it, right? They thought they were kind of pioneers, and Donkey Kong is 70. I think Metroid is 70. Pokemon might be 70 on Switch too. But Mario Kart's the only 80. They'll hit back. Eventually they'll do another 8. Like a Smash Bros would probably be 80, right? Or a Zelda game. Oh, that's $80 for sure. Microsoft ups prices and then pulls back, right? Outer Worlds is going to be 80. That's ridiculous. Then they pull it back, right? Because it didn't work. So I don't know. You're seeing people test it already, and most don't do it. And that's 80. That's not 90, and that's not 100. 100 is a nice round number. I can see why you would want to jump from 70 to 100, but most people will not even take the 80. 80 is I wish they would have done that survey with just $80, because I feel like Mario Kart and Outer Worlds failing at it, and just only one game, I think, being $80. I really think that jump between 70 and 80, there's a hard line there. You could have maybe argued there was a line for 60. Remember, 60 was the max. Who would have thought? You wouldn't even conceive of a world where $70 was a game, because it was always 60. I think it took a lot to get from 60 to 70, but something in me, I don't know, maybe it's just, it could honestly not be real. Maybe it's just me making it up, but there feels like kind of this invisible ceiling at 70 where it's don't you dare up it to 8, because that's the unacceptable line people will not cross. By the way, to end it, we'll end this video as it went on a very long time. I'm only talking U.S. price, because I do understand, and I know I'm saying this 20 minutes in, but I do understand other places in the world, it is $100+ U.S. because some currencies are weaker, right? I do get that. My mom's Canadian. I'm half Canadian, I guess, in that way. I know Canada, prices are terrible there. Australia, I think, is another one. Prices are horrific there. So I'm talking U.S. prices pretty much this whole video, but I know in other places it's already higher, and God bless you if the price is raised in the US, because it's going to be even higher than for you afterwards. So let's not even think about it, okay? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.